Forbes magazine recognizes this. They said that the future of work is employee well-being. So it's so important to keep your employees psychologically healthy. And previously, like, health focused largely on physical health. It only looked at physical health, actually. But now, it's much broader than that.
I actually know of a case recently where someone was being bullied and they were not given opportunities, and they actually took it to HR. And they had a meeting where HR was basically mediating. And as much as the conversation was there and everything, but the person still came back and said, it hasn't really changed that much. Now things are just awkward. And you wonder, how do you then move on from a situation like that? But I agree with you in that, focusing on yourself and your own performance can assist in you moving forward. It definitely will not change that person. But as long as they know how you feel towards them and what their actions, I think it can be a load lifted off your shoulders. But yeah, as to a solution on that one, I don't know. But I just wanted to speak on 2 points quickly. The first one is the one you mentioned on listening to your body. I once went through stress for 2 years unaware, and I had these back pains for 2 years straight. I went through x-rays, all different types of x-rays you can think of, and every single time my doctor would say, you're stressed, and I would say no. For 2 years, I'm like, I'm not stressed, I'm fine, I'm happy, everything is fine in my life. Until the day I actually admitted, and 2 years later, after spending so much money on medical expenses, and it didn't even take more than a month, and all that pain was gone from just admitting and trying to figure out what exactly was causing stress. So your body speaks loud. And my question is, especially with what comes from Ricky Rick, I'll be quick on this. Most people are angry that we're giving so much attention when something happens with people killing themselves or committing suicide. But from my personal experience, I feel for Ricky Rick's wife, because she might have tried, but it wasn't received. And what do you do? Because I myself don't know what to do with the men in my life who are actually going through depression. And the minute you even start talking, trying to get to the topic and say, are you okay? Should we maybe get help? And whatnot, and immediately there's this tension, like, don't even start. So what exactly can you do for someone who doesn't want help?
All that you can do is continue to support, and encourage. And unfortunately, issues like depression, some people never admit to themselves that they're depressed, or they don't want to admit to the world that they're depressed, or they have some or other issue, they're an addict. Addiction is another red flag for mental health issues. In those cases, and if you live with someone who is an addict or who does have a mental health issue, all you can do is keep encouraging them and be firm and have your own boundaries and say, well, and ultimately, life is not easy, and there will be times when people throw in the towel and they do commit suicide. And a lot of people I've in my family, we've had suicide. So afterwards you ask yourself, like, should I have done more? Could I have done more? There's nothing more that you could have done, as long as you gave your best, you did your best, you show up for that person, be there for them, stick up for them. Sometimes people are insecure, even famous people are insecure.
I just want to ask, can you please share what the Momentum facilities are actually offering? What type of supports and all of that? Because currently what we are facing at the Mines is the spiritual factor of the mental health. So we have more people who are going for, what do you call it?
It is a spiritual journey.
Yeah, spiritually so. So like we are facing a serious problem when it comes to this one. When we look at it, from our mind, I think we have 2 people each and every month who will ask for leave to go perform
Ancestral callings.
Yes, those callings, So for some reason, I feel like some of them are not really callings. It's something that we need to get deeper into. It's more of a mental problem than.
Okay. Morning, everyone. Sibongile here from DBS. I think I'm one person personally who values mental health. Working for DBS, DBS does also provide assistance, wellness, health-being. Like a week, you're given an hour, I think, they bring people in to help us meditate and just deal with life pressures. Um, I'm personally scared of toxic work environment. I was telling one of the ladies yesterday that my work environment is so good that I'm one of the few people that can say I'm happy when I go to work, right? Because of the people around me, they genuinely care about you. Well, that's what I've experienced. When my manager asks, how are you doing? How are the kids? When I'm going through something, they go out of their way to find help for me, and that really helps. And Jasmine, I just want to thank you for sharing your story because I have a family member, right, that's going through the same thing you explained. I can't remember if you said it's your brother or your father, whereby they just have cyclic changes. One day she's motivated, she's an A student, she's a high flyer. Then the next, she just sleeps the whole day for a week, like doesn't bath, doesn't eat. And so I think that just highlighted to me, and we kind of joked about it in the family that this one has got bipolar, right? When she's happy, she wants us to be all happy, and we are genuinely happy. But then when she goes into this dark hole, we just let her be. We're like, it started, it's her moods. So thank you for highlighting that she could be facing depression. But how do I then go back to her to talk to her? Because we've always thought she's just a moody person, because when she's happy, she's active, she's everywhere. How do I go to her and make her realize that maybe there's something wrong and she should seek help? Thank you.
Thank you. So on the Momentum one, they offer a counseling service, and if you would like to get my details from the event organizers, I'm happy to give you the details, more details around that, and the contact people at Momentum. And then on your family member, it's a difficult one because it's hard to tell someone, look, I think you have a problem, but maybe use my story, like, geez, I was at this conference and there was this lady there and she was saying this, and, maybe just relating the story will actually trigger something in her that will make her realize, oh, this talks to me, It sounds like those sound like typical bipolar symptoms. My sister-in-law as well, she's got a sister who suffers from bipolar disorder, and she, one day she actually in Cape Town, she started swimming from the beach out. She believed she could swim out to the ocean, and lucky somebody managed to get her back in. So it's chemicals in the brain, it's not her, it's not, and now that she takes medication, she's perfectly fine, so use those examples and, talk about the conference and then use those examples, and maybe that will trigger a conversation. And the only thing that you can do is try and trigger an open conversation and encourage her to maybe speak to someone about medication.